All right, me again. So let's look at basically getting started in Google Draw for those of you who've never used it before and maybe don't feel like you're the most tech savvy. Um, and I'm by no means an expert at it. And just to let you know how easy this is, I just started trying this today. So I've never used Google Draw before. I mean, I've never used it, and I'm not exaggerating. Like I used it a couple times. I never used it before today. So if an old goat like me can try it out and make it work, I think you guys can probably do a much better job. So these are kind of the symbols that we want you to use. So we've got our start and our end ovals, all right? So we'll have to figure out how to make those. We've got rectangles, and then we've got something that's sort of like a diamond. And then how do you add text? And how do you do your arrows and everything? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a new document. All right. We'll go drawing. All right, and so let's take a look at this. So let's look at, first of all, just making basic shapes. So if you're going to make a basic shape, your shape box is this right here. Okay, yours might look a little different, but this is kind of the basic toolbar of what they give you. And you click on it, and when you click on it, it gives you all these different things you want. You can actually customize and use like cool arrows if you want, other than the arrows I use. And so the shapes, pretty much, if you click on any shape, it will put it down. So like, let's start with the circle, all right? And then notice it shows nothing. So what you have to do is you have to take your mouse or whatever you're using, you click, and I'm not sure how to do this on an iPad, but you click it and then you move it, and you can move it however you want while you're holding it down. And then when you've got it to be the size you want, then you stop and you let go, and it will default to having it filled in. So you can leave it filled in if you want, but I just made them transparent and clear. So the way you do that is you click on the shape, and then it pulls up all this other stuff that's on here, and you go to the fill button, and the fill button, you can do one of two things. You can make it white, you can do that, or what I did is I made it transparent. And then that way you don't have to mess around with order of things. If you do decide you want a color, supposing I want to do red, right? And and then I decide I'm gonna put something in there. I'm gonna put start in there. Okay, let's take this, let's move it, right? Let's shrink it up a little bit. I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it over there. Well, if you put it on second, it will show up. But what if you have your start here, and then you grab this and you decide to drop it over on that because your text is already made? Sometimes it will cover it up. And if it does that, what you do is you right click on it, and it should give you an order, and then you can send it backwards. All right? And then you can change it back to how it was. All right, so order, and that's a right-click operation. What you can use is helpful. So that's kind of how you do that. So let's I'm gonna take this and move this out for a second and go back to this. Let's put this transparent. You can move these around just by grabbing it anywhere basically on one of the lines, and you can put it wherever you want. And what's cool is when you line up other shapes with it, is it'll give you some like lines to do that with. Now if you want to put an arrow in, you go over to the select line tool, you click on it and go down to arrow, and then you click where you want your arrow to start. So click, and then it gives you this, and then you click your end of it, and then you can swing it and put it wherever you want. You can shorten it, you can lengthen it up, and so I'll leave it just like this, and that looks good. And then, okay, I want a command box now, so I'm going to go to my shapes. I'm going to go to my rectangle, which is the first one there, and I'm just going to start with making a basic rectangle. All right, so I'll take this, make my rectangle, and now I'm going to grab it, and I want to show you what that lineup tool looks like. You see how that red line comes up? that centers it with the shape above it. And then you can do all the stuff like click on it and make it transparent, and you can put any text you want in to everything, all right? And then so maybe I would say for this, I'll go to my text box, click anywhere. The way your text works is if you want it to go to the middle, you click on this align button and click on this one right here. That'll put you to the middle. And then if you want it in the middle going vertically, you go back to that same thing and where the arrows are this way. It defaults to left and top every time, and it's completely annoying, but it's how it is. Now let's say I'll say turn computer on. All right. And then what I can do is I can size this up so I can make this, as small or as big as I want. The font will stay the same size, but then you can make it, see how when I squish it in, it kind of puts it on top, and you can take it, put it right in the middle, and see how it gives me a nice crosshair there, drop it in. So it looks nice and lined up. You notice with this one, that's not so lined up, is it? So I'll take it over, and now it looks lined up. It looks good. So you can make these things look really good. Now I want to show you something really quick. If you want to use another shape that you've already made, just click on it. Like click on, it's kind of hard when you have the text in. All right, here we go. And click on that. Supposing I want to click on my start thing, and then I'm going to right click. I'm going to go copy, and then I'm going to right click again. I'm going to go paste, and that will give me another oval, and then I can take that and move that down later and right end in it, okay? Same thing with the rectangles, just, right click, copy, paste, and you can even, if you want, you could make a whole bunch of them, right? And then just kind of move them out of your way so that you can grab them as you need them. You can do the same thing with the arrows too. The arrows are pretty easy, but if you get lazy. And the other thing is, if you want to make the arrow the other way, is click on it and then hold it down, and it will go to where you want it. And so boom. And then if you want to move something, you go to this pointer tool, right? And then that will allow you the opportunity to move it where you want it, right? So these are some of the sort of basic things you can do. I'm going to show you really quick how to make a diamond. So you know how to do that. And this is a lot easier than you think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by making a square. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this grid. And I'm going to go, okay, if I'm making a square, let's say I'm going to do 6 units this way, and then I'm going to do 6 units going down, because that's what a square is, right? So I've got something that looks more or less like a square. Okay, now what I can do to make a diamond is you grab this top part right here, and that's the rotate tool, and you just take it and you just swing it around, and I just eyeball it and just kind of get it where you want it, and that works out pretty nice. Click on that, make it transparent, and then you can size it later if you want. You can make it smaller. And what's cool is if you make it correct right off the bat, when you size it, if you raise it straightly, it will do it proportionally. So it will still maintain its diamond-like shape. And then you can just move that over here. You can use your arrows, put them in. Your yes arrow would come off the bottom. Your no arrow will come off the side. And so that's kind of the basic tools of what you need to get started on this with Google Draw. And it's good for a number of different directions. You can make the arrows smaller. And what's also cool is when you save this or you go to print it or anything like that, and I'll just kind of show you what it looks like. It gets rid of the grid. It just shows this white paper right here. So a lot of cool features with this. I hope you enjoy playing around with it. I know I've kind of thought it was pretty cool. So if you have any other questions, obviously reach out to the teachers. If you have a question specific to this, if you want to reach out to me, go right ahead. My email for any of you who need it, and I'll make this huge is simonsj@wawmsd.org, and then I can be reached by that for any of you who need that. So even if you're in Clover Brown or in Global or whatever, and you have a question specific to Google Draw, if I can help you with it, I absolutely will. The other thing is, and this is what I do all the time, is if you're stuck on something with this, just Google it and you'll find something. I've taught myself more stuff since we've been quarantined just by looking things up. So good luck with this, guys. I hope you enjoy it, and miss you, and hope everybody's safe.